This is the Xavier Exponential podcast with your host, Kayla Evans. There's a black girl in the wedding, or a black girl having a wedding, married to a prince.
Yeah.
And that's something, you don't see every day.
And Catherine Jones. And you get happy birthday messages on Facebook like, I don't want yours. You can go back. I don't want yours at all. Hi. So I'm Catherine and
I'm Kayla.
And this is the Exponential podcast. So basically we got told Wednesday that we were making a podcast with Dr. Roberts, and we just wanted to share, what's happening on campus, what's going on with our lives, because we think we're very interesting, apparently. Somebody does. So I guess let's get into it. Okay, so Kayla, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Kayla. I'm a sociology major and a first-year Xavier student.
And I'm Catherine again, and I'm a neuroscience major, political science minor, and I'm also a first-year Xavier student. I guess let's get into the tea, I guess. So what's been up with you this week since it's Friday?
Nothing much. It's been midterm week.
Really?
For the most part. Yeah, I had a couple midterms. Had one today.
Oh, no.
What's been up with you?
Nothing really. I just noticed that's like the first year of anniversary, I guess, of COVID, which is crazy. 365 days wearing a mask, but how was your quarantine when it first started?
Awful. As I feel like that's kind of to be expected.
Yeah.
Especially it was cutting off senior year of high school and just kind of throwing us into a pandemic at one of the most trying times as a senior, trying to figure out what you want to do for your future. And now we had another element
18 years old, figuring out what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But when did y'all at school end? Because I know mine ended, we went on a field trip. So literally went to New York, came back, and then everything was on lockdown. So it's crazy going to Times Square. And then you see pictures later and it's completely abandoned.
Yeah, that's definitely, I want to say our school ended around this time. Last year. My New York trip was
you went to New York
weeks.
Too?
It was 2
really?
weeks after the lockdown started. So I didn't get to go. That weekend, my parents were supposed to go to South Africa as well. They didn't get to go. I was supposed to go to Mexico. Didn't get to go. So
you're supposed to be a little first world traveler, and that all got canceled because of COVID.
Yeah, definitely.
That's crazy. Because what did I do for graduation? They made a little outside setup for us. It was supposed to be so we have our last senior day. It was supposed to be back in early April, and it kept on getting postponed. So after the prom day, it kept on getting postponed, and then they kept on extending it until they finally said, okay, here's the plan. They sent out an Excel sheet. And it was broken up to 3 days. It's a constant rotational drive through. And you just have a little setup stage. It was all cute and a little quaint from our small town in Mississippi. But in the end, I wish I would have stayed home. Took my mask off for pictures for no reason.
So our graduation, originally we were supposed to graduate May 22nd. It didn't happen, of course. It was supposed to happen. We have a stadium that we usually have our graduation.
Yeah, same.
COVID was happening, so they went ahead and canceled that. So they kept postponing it as well. So eventually, I want to say they settled on a date in June, late June, early July.
That late?
Early July, something like that. I don't even remember the date. It wasn't anything memorable. We can only have 5 people, and they moved us to Atlanta Motor Speedway, to a big stadium, so we could all be super spaced out. Did I get to walk across the stage? Yes. Did I want to be there? No.
It wasn't worth it.
No.
Yeah.
No prom, no any of that. After March, I didn't see anyone from school again until
Same. I
June
stayed in
or
my
July.
house. I didn't see sun for a long time, apparently. But apparently we just got the bill passed for the stimulus checks after a year of COVID, finally.
It's the third one, though.
Yeah, I guess. We both get opt-out of it, so no $1,400 checks for us.
Yeah.
No $1,400 checks for us.
No checks for me.
So still gotta find a way to pay his tuition. Yeah. We'll find a way somehow.
Definitely.
But Did you see the Meghan Markle interview?
I saw clips of it.
Yeah, Twitter was going crazy.
It definitely
Going crazy.
It
Black
was.
Twitter is my favorite. I stay on it.
It was definitely, I mean, it was crazy to see the crown of England. I mean, would you expect the queen of the queen of a country who's had so many conquered nations, would you expect them not to be racist?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because you just see like how vast Britain colonized everything.
Yeah.
Whole museum, nothing's from there.
Yeah.
It's everywhere else. Just completely like use Africa and South America for their resources. And it's like something archaic as the monarchy being racist to somebody who's half black.
Yeah, that's not
can be considered white passing, and a child who's 1/4 black. No protection detail, no whatsoever. But you want to get into like the details of it?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. I know I saw one article where I was shocked. Okay, because I know that you like can't talk about stuff while they were working for the crown, but at the same time, I didn't see how much it affected like Meghan's mental health. Because I saw that I didn't know that she went to commit suicide. She was having suicide
that
thoughts
was a
about that.
surprise. It was interesting to see. I think it made her more relatable in a way, because of course a lot of people started feeling certain ways during the whole quarantine thing, and then of course her coming into the crown during that time, having a baby, you know, all those new experiences. It seemed like it's definitely a hard thing to do. So
yeah, even before that, when they weren't even married yet, I was like, oh, she's like another Diana, because Kate was like really prim and proper, followed like the rules and everything, and then I guess because like the British media always attacked her for some reason when when she was pregnant, like criticized her holding her stomach while she was pregnant.
yeah.
But at the same time, just idolizing Kate and just diminishing Meghan 24/7.
Yeah, I feel like in a way, America did the same. With Kate, when she first was getting married to Prince William, there was like, oh my gosh, the Princess Kate from small town America. Like it seemed like it was everyone's little dream. Yeah, and then when Meghan Markle did it too, it wasn't so. It wasn't as celebrated. To the black community, it was. It was like, there's a black girl,
especially her mom
in
the
wedding.
Dreadlocks in those face, and I said, yeah.
It's like there's a black girl in the wedding, or a black girl having a wedding, married to a prince.
Yeah. And
that's something, you know, you don't see every day. So I think that was a step for, you know, black women, but to see how she was treated, it still shows like our place that has been solidified in society. That even when you make it to the castle, you still deal with the same.
Oh, that sociology major popping out. Look at it. It's coming out today. But recently, besides the British media, I know one person that was extremely criticizing her was Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
24/7, constantly, and luckily he quit. He walked out.
He did. I think it was a bold thing to do.
Unnecessary thing.
It was unnecessary, but from the standpoint of myself, it was interesting to see that someone could have their ideals so strong that it would compel them to quit. For it. Like, to me, it just seemed a little bit unnecessary. I understand that the news media's job is to bring light to situations, to show what's happening, to show what's going on. But I feel like his opinion that he didn't believe her was unnecessary to an extent. And there was definitely a claim that he was racist for making those statements, which to a degree I wouldn't say it's outright racism, but there's microaggressions all over it.
It's like diet racism, but even with him, it just shows like another example of white fragility, something that we saw all throughout the summer during the Black Lives Matter protests, because he can't take what he dishes out. So this has been going on for Meghan. He was one of the main people that affected her mental health, and then the minute that he gets backlash from it, he just throws his hands up, cries and tears, and just walks out, throws a tantrum like a child. And then people who supporting him, like Sharon Osbourne.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
That
I can't say it surprised me though. I'm sure that a lot of people feel the same way. I mean, when you come for the crown like that, there's gonna be a lot of people that hate you, that do not respect you. When they first left the castle, when they said they're not doing their duties anymore, they don't want to be a part of that, and they moved, people were up in the air, throwing their hands up, all of that for the same reason. So it didn't surprise me that people didn't support her now, even as she's trying to tell her truth, even as Harry is also, like, he told his truth as well. He's backing her story with his wife, and people are still like, oh no, we don't believe her. But it's not necessarily just about her. It's the idea that you have people that are the monarchs of such a large
nation.
Yes.
I forgot what it was.
Such a large
I forgot.
thing, and they are still very much racist. Yeah.
It was crazy because you see how like pop culture flipped on Harry. You saw him like grow up from a little boy, and like with Diana, her interview saying like, oh, he's just like me. He speaks what's on his mind first throughout and everything, and then he's doing the same thing trying to protect his son. To where because you don't give them security details, and apparently their house address in Canada got exposed. So they have to move to California, and then they don't have any money from the monarch anymore. So Tyler Perry took them in.
Yes, I did see.
Tyler Perry took them in.
I wonder how that conversation with the Queen went. How do you explain who Tyler Perry is to the Queen of England?
No clue. Just show him side by side Medea and Tyler Perry trying to explain. We're staying at his house, sitting on his couch. But it's just, I can't believe it. And then with the Sharon Osbourne and Sheryl Underwood, that's like a perfect example of trying to be a black woman in America. Just having people who are just ignorant and just insensitive saying, okay, educate me, tell me. You're 68 years old. I should not have to explain jack to you.
You've seen the world. You've seen its wrongdoings against the black community.
Yes.
And then when you see Piers Morgan's go out of his way to target a black woman who has made some status.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be outright racism. Mm-hmm. The fact that you would do that, knowing the history of it, that is the racism.
And then still turning around and expecting Cheryl to be your friend in the end. Because I know that happened a lot with me growing up. Seeing people who are like Trump supporters, these are like the same people I went to high school with, like from elementary, literally first grade to 12th grade. It's like the same people. You've known them all throughout your life, you know, their parents and everything. And then to see like on Facebook posts, they like posting the insurrection and like basically supporting it. And you're like, how can you look at me in my face, hug me at graduation, and say, oh, I'm so proud of you, I love you, at the same time be for somebody who's completely against my entire existence right now.
I can say that that's not something I had to deal with as much.
Mm-hmm.
Where I grew up, there was a very distinct marker, I'd say. So the white people in the town were pretty, not all of them were racist, but a good bit of them were kind of out with their prejudiceness. And then the rest of us, the majority was black. Mm-hmm. So the friends that I grew up with were black. The school that I went to, mostly black. So though I did see some of those people, and it was like, that's interesting. It's something that I expected. Mm-hmm. It's not something that I did not expect. Definitely, it was expected for me to see that. During Trump's whole administration, it became normal for a lot of the white kids to have their Trump flags, to have their things like that, but it was something I was able to stay away from for the most part. So it wasn't something I had to face on a daily basis, but it was still very much a thing in the school, in the community.
People don't realize that even though like you don't have to be like from the backwoods like me, that it still affects you, that it's everywhere really. When people say it's not like the Republican Party anymore, it's really like Trumpism. That's very true. It's like an ideology, it's a mindset about it. But I know that I could relate to Megan in one way because I understood that once she like stepped out of the institution, how it was more comfortable for her and like everything kind of came back to her. Because that happened with me when I left here, going from like predominantly white area to an HBCU. It was like almost everything, every microaggression about is your hair real, them going on vacation, say, oh my gosh, I'm darker than you now. Oh, you don't listen to a little who and who rapper. Oh, I'm blacker than you. All of that coming back to right now. It's like, why was I ever friends with these people? Why did I go to their house at all? And it was just crazy about how you can just really, how much an environment and a culture vacuum can affect you. And then literally once you step out of it, it's growth, but it's also hurt at the same time because literally like the whole friend list almost got completely cut off. And you get happy birthday messages on Facebook like, I don't want yours. You can go back. I don't want yours at all. It's just, it's hard. Her growth is hard. But because everybody else gets to have the same mindset and I'm just here growing. It's not fun at all. I know it's a good end product. It's not fun. But hopefully something better on the other side comes out of it.
Yeah, I can understand. It's definitely, I can't say there's been so much of a change coming to an HBCU for me. It's what I wanted. It was my goal for whatever school I went to, that it was going to be an HBCU. But I wanted that because I enjoy black spaces. Yeah. I know that growing up, I was able to be in one more often than a lot of other people. The people I was around, my mom's a black female doctor, which is rare. The people she surrounded herself with were usually black intellectuals. So I did have a lot of black spaces growing up. But I wanted to maintain that because knowing that I could go to any school and you can get lost in the white crowd. It's not something that I wanted to do. I wanted to still thrive in a black space. So it's why I picked the HBCU, and it's why I can understand Megan wanting to come out of such a large white space, because being in a castle or being in that area, that has to be definitely a crazy experience, especially if you're rarely seeing people of color in that area, or you're only seeing them as, the housekeepers, or you're only seeing them as people coming from other countries to delegate or whatever,
You're rarely seeing your mom.
Yeah.
That's crazy, because that was basically like her only support parent, because her dad was trying to trash her, leading from like dating to the wedding. Yeah. That and like step half siblings coming out the woodworks. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't have anything.
Well, I guess that's all for us today. So again, this is the Exponential Podcast with Katherine
and Kayla.
And we hope y'all tune in for next week. Bye.